But basically, in short, there are some universal truths to CPG and yes, branding, but ultimately when most consumers are interacting oftentimes with products or brands at shelf for the very first time. So that is your introduction, if you will, your blind date. The added challenge to that conversation is that you have to make impact with very limited amount of real estate, right? One of the challenges that I often hear from new clients and current clients is people don't understand us, they don't know our brand story, they don't know what we do. So, we from both from research and experience know that in packaging, you have to sort of lead with disruption, right? So, bold colors, graphics, assets, things that people typically think of when they think of design, most of that is sort of the disruptive element of CPG and packaging design. The key to successful branding, especially in CPG at shelf, in my opinion, is the balance between disruption and relevance. And in order to be relevant, you have to have a deeper conversation with the consumers. You have to be able to create impact and deeper meaning, but you only have limited tools in your toolkit, right? So you kind of need to use everything that you can. And there is also, I would say, a tendency or an urge to want to say every single thing possible about your product, right? Every benefit, the background story. And of course, the second you get too much information on a 6-inch tall box that people are standing 3 feet away, 15 seconds to shop, you really have to start to really think about what your communication hierarchy needs to be and what should like float to the top. Consumers want, you to sort of solve three things. And again, this kind of goes back to that marriage of disruption and relevance. What is it? What does it do? And is it for me? We strategically named each flagship product using names that would evoke either an experience or a place, like Tiki's, it's a tropical product, and or Pop Joys, which is a snacking kumquat. So, the use of word pop and then joy. So even in the name, trying to evoke emotion, happiness, joy, or experience or place. Know your consumer, like know who you're speaking to. Sometimes you do need to swing the pendulum a little bit further. If your product is relevant to a particular generation or a particular need, or it's solving a unique problem, embrace that. Don't water that down. And find a way to make that come to life in every way. So again, through the name, through the product descriptor, if it's something new or usual, through the flavor name. I mean, literally every word on this package was strategically chosen to help convey. And then you got to have a little bit more extreme language because this was launching in Urban Outfitters. This was for a younger audience, and embrace sort of the oddity of this idea of a mushroom chip. With language, I don't know that you can be neutral in branding and packaging successfully that often. So again, as much impact as you can make through very strategically chosen words at every turn with every tool in your toolbox, I think that is sort of one of the ways that, we find success at shelf, and it's a unique challenge. I think a lot of brands can try to be like too irreverent. That's why I use that word balance between disruption and relevance, is that I think if you try to be too niche, you don't necessarily then create enough relevance or relatability to enough people, and then it feels exclusive and not inclusive enough, right? But I also think if you swing the pendulum too far to be have too much mass appeal, then it waters it down and there is no emotional connection. So it's a distinct challenge. I mean, finding that balance, I think, is probably one of the hardest parts. I mean, that's what is in positioning. So is that you do have to be willing to take risk. I mean, Papadelics is a perfect example. I think if you're a little bit afraid of owning your own personality through tone of voice, language, and word choice, then you'll probably miss the mark. You do need to be a little bit adventurous.